Right, here we go. Yeah, it's the best time of the year. It's the Lake MacBride Fat Tire Classic 2026 edition. Awesome course, awesome event. Big turnout, I think. Uh, almost 150 riders in each category, 30 mile and 15 mile. I have convinced my young nephew, Luca Figlioli, there he is, to come and race. And yeah, ton of fun. So I was planning to gun today, but if you can see in the profile, you can appreciate that. Spoiler alert, I only finished 11 miles of the 30-mile course. Long story. I'll tell it to you, though. So we're off, and it's as per usual. It's a spicy start. I was telling my nephew, you just got to hammer, hammer, hammer. He's got a huge engine, former elite level collegiate rower, but relatively minimal time on a bike, especially on highly technical crap. There he goes off to the left. So we're flying. We're doing, 23 miles an hour across a golf course. And we're all sort of jockeying here to get into the first sort of double track snowmobile trail. I'm riding behind. Oh boy, I think that's Axel Brandsmeyer right there. Young kid, super strong, maybe 15, just powerhouse. And up ahead of him in the other Sugar Bottom kit, that's Dane Miller, another super strong off-road rider. So pace lets up a little bit, and up ahead, the first pinch point out front. I think pacing this group is Caden Snoop, who's ultimate winner, earned $250 cash money for his efforts. Super fast today. So here's the first pinch point, and it's just a little bit of a cart path here, and we're gonna make a right-hand turn, and then we'll get into the snowmobile trail. But yeah, so I was feeling good today, and Dane Miller's on my right here, and I almost take myself out when Dane sort of drifts left, and I'm half wheeling. Oh my God, I almost died right there. Apologizing to the people behind me. Right, so into the snowmobile trail, and this is good stuff. Yeah, so as you can see, we're pushing pretty hard through here, going pretty fast. There's a slight downhill, 2% or whatever, but it's quick, and I'm trying to work my way through a couple of people to get back up to Luca, who's just there in front of me in the gray and the red helmet. So I'm made my way by a couple of people, and there's Axel right here, and we're coming by Keith Snoop, strong dude, older gentleman, mature gentleman like me. So it's interesting on this, this is not a closed course, so there are people out and about, soaking in nature. I'm gonna try to get by Axel here, kind of sneak in on his side. But there's a dog walker up here who's crazy. Like this poor woman walking her little dog, and there's 100 people just thundering by. I don't know how long she had to stand there. It was kind of funny. But this section is pretty fast. It's starting to pinch up now, and there's a climb out back up to pavement. And I'm sort of trying to focus in on these dudes in the maroon jackets. These guys are a team from Des Moines, well, racing in a three-man team, and I know they're about my age. I think 2 of the 3 are. So I thought it'd be reasonable to sort of sit with these guys as long as I could today. Maybe even work with him if there an opportunity presents. But yeah, I just came up on Luca and got by him, and that's up in the front here. So this is kind of the lead group. Caden Snoop, that's Keith's son, is up there. So we're just hammering out of here. Yeah, here we're coming up on the dog walker. This poor woman, I mean, she probably had to stand there huddled with her dog against the side of the brush for like 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, terrible. my bike was really sort of in poor shape, sort of neglected prior to the race. You can hear it squeaking, just driving me and probably everyone around me nuts. So yeah, it's really irritating, especially as it's under load, doing 500 watts, trying to get up this 10% grade out onto the pavement. Uh, just absolutely driving me nuts. What was crazy is once I got up into the pavement, I thought, okay, I'm gonna sort of settle in with this group, draft a little bit, get some hydration in me, and that's when I realized things had not gone to plan today. So coming up here, pull out my hose. I am trying to get some some hydration. I've got my carb mix, so my basically nutrition is in my Usui bag, and it's all frozen already after just a few minutes of being out there at 20-degree weather. I start to panic a little bit, and I don't have a lot of time because this pavement doesn't go on very long. But then we get into some really much more technical stuff. So I spent a little bit of time here trying to hold it, shove it in my jersey, just hoping that it would thaw so I could actually drink. Yeah, not good. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here until we get to the next segment of off-road. All right, and we are now entering the first series of loops up and down, up on the ridges, down the lake, back up on the ridges. Pretty exhausting back here, but still, trying to hang with the front group and hammering away. And it gets pretty fast back here on some sections too, so it's pretty exciting. The key to riding this stuff is to maintain as much momentum as possible to get up the next hill. And there's a guy in the red who does not do this, and yeah, ugh. Extra energy to get around him, and then keep going. Some of these big downhills come to an abrupt end, so they switch backs, and you gotta be ready for them. I only came close to hitting 2 trees, I think, during the ride back here. But I'm still, again, trying to just hang with these wheels. Once more, climbing up and out. And once we get out here up onto the ridge, we head back to the east, and then we drop all the way down to the lake. A series of fast downhills. Really cool. Just jump ahead a little bit here. There's not much going on. So now we're in the downhills, and here comes, oh, there it is, my first tree that I almost hit. I seem to be able to make up time on the downhills relative to some of the other guys. Like I come up on these guys pretty quick. Just these climbs are just excruciating for me. So, but this section of the trail is really, really great. Get all the way down to the bottom of the hill and ride along the sandy beach. It's a little bit of confusion as to where we're supposed to go. We're looking for these little green flags that are tied into the brush, and yeah, so now we're all just kind of blasting out of this, like bushwhacking through this stuff, and I can tell my nephew, who has been behind me for a little bit here, is itching to let rip back up onto the ridge, so me and my squeaky bike just kind of plug ahead a little bit here, and once I get between a set of trees, I let Luca get around me finally. I'm sorry I held him up for so long. And there he goes, and that's the last I saw of Luca. I am thrilled to report that he came in 8th place overall, despite being held up by his uncle in the woods. These guys just are hammering up this hill, and I'm losing. There's separation here, but Luca had an amazing day, despite his you know, limited skills on the bike, or experience on the bike. His huge engine kept him in it, and he told me after the race that, in fact, he did a lot of scrambling, like actually got off and carried and ran with his bike and some of the stuff, because it was just, you know, beyond his ability to ride and a lot of people's ability to ride. Sadly, I never made it back into the really, really technical stuff, but we'll jump ahead a little bit. I'm just gonna ride with these guys. They start to drop me, but I keep working. I don't give up. I claw them back before I start to become really dehydrated. So I'll speed it up a little bit here.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was Alex Ledger who got to the race start late and just is feeling he was strong that day, man. He like passed about, I don't know, 90 people or whatever, and you know, even within the first, God, I don't even know, like maybe 4 or 5 miles, he like caught up to me and started to make his way towards the front group. We're just eventually coming to the end of this section, and thank goodness, because again, it's painful. But again, you know, here I can sort of make some progress in the downhills. Oh, almost lost it there again. I'm slower on the uphills, but I can get down the hills pretty good. I'm just really looking forward to getting out of this stretch, because once we get onto the pavement, there's an opportunity to recover a little bit. Some downhill, some coasting, another opportunity to try to eat and drink. And sadly, you know, even with my tube inside my jersey, I came to find just up ahead that just wasn't meant to be. I was still frozen, and I was still rapidly losing, losing, yeah, spirit, because I knew I was probably not going to be able to drink if I did this whole 2 hour and 45-minute race, which was my projected time that I had in my head. Ugh. All right, back onto the pavement. This is where I really started to get desperate. I was thinking, my God, I don't even know how many, only like 5 or 6 miles into this race, and I've been at, you know, threshold the whole time. I'm like in the aero tuck here. I can see the guys ahead. There might be a chance to claw my way back. I eventually do claw my way back up to the 3-man team, but you know, I spent so much time messing with the damn Uswe hydration pack and tube and valve that it was just irritating as hell. But we'll speed up, claw back on. Coming up on Ethan Sabers, who unfortunately flatted. There's actually a fair number of flats. Several people didn't finish because of just some bad luck bouncing through the garbage in the woods. Yeah, I can see these guys ahead. I'm doing my best to, you know, not tap out a steady rhythm, listen to my squeaky ass bike, and just trying to stay within reaching distance of these guys. Up at the top of this hill, there's John Yetley was there. It was good to see him. He is the owner of Sugar Bottom Bikes, and he helped basically cut in a lot of the trails that we're going to ride later. There he was back there. The bushwhacking sections, they call them. Super fun. But, all right, these guys are almost within reach. I think I can get them on the next downhill. Yeah, so I finally sort of clawed my way back, and I caught up with the guys I wanted to ride with, the team of 3 from Des Moines, and we're dropping down back to the lake, and there's this rocky drop here that, if you don't know the line, it can be a little dicey. You just got to stay to the right. Anyways, everybody safely through. So now the course like sets up flat. We just wind right along the lake edge on this pea gravel trail, and this is where I really start to get busy trying to trying to get some heat and some thaw into my Usway hose and valve. So I end up yo-yoing on and off the back of this group, which consists of these guys from Des Moines, and then Charlie, local rider Charlie Buies up there. Yeah, so it was kind of a mess. I'm just gonna fast forward because I'm on and off and on and off, and eventually these guys just ride away as I'm like jacking around. So I'll fast forward to. Yeah, so this is basically the spot where my messing around the whole time just got me dropped from this group, and Charlie was lagging a little bit, but he caught on, and he ended up, I think, beating these guys by maybe a minute or so. And Alex Ledger, who I mentioned him a while ago, who started the race late, he got 4th place overall. So some people were just riding super strong. Again, these guys just got away from me, and so I just was on my own for a fair bit of time here. I'm just gonna fast forward. This especially got bad. Like these guys go up the hill right here to the left. I'm just like, oh man, I don't think I can get up the hill with them. So I let them go. And once we get up at the top of the hill, we get back onto a little bit of pavement, and then we come around back onto the pea gravel along the lake, and then I basically got into time trial mode, just, solo. I'll fast forward to that. And still, like every time there was pavement, when I wasn't turning or braking, I'd sit up, try to thaw out. Like now, you can see my shadow. I'm trying to rearrange the damn hose and valve, trying to get some more heat into it. Still thinking there's an opportunity to salvage this. It just never thought out. So this spot, we're dropping back down out of the park, back onto the pea gravel trails along Lake MacBride. And I completely couldn't remember where the big sharp turn is. I knew there was a sharp right-hand turn, and I thought it was not this one, but the next one, but it's this one. And yeah, almost went into the bushes there. So yeah, once we get down, dropped back down to the lake, then it's again just more time trialing in this winding, pretty flat pea gravel road. So we're gonna speed up the video, and I'm gonna jump well ahead, like maybe another 1.5 miles, and that's when I reconnect with some people. So we'll jump ahead there. All right, fast forward like 1.5 miles or so, and this is the last straw, last ditch ever to salvage the day. Pulled over, took off my Usway, took off my vest, unzipped my jersey, basically switched everything around, put my Usway on under my jersey, and still had the tube, still had nothing to drink, but zipped back up. And at this point, Keith, Snoop, and Dane Miller come by, and I was just finishing getting dressed again, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get back with those guys. So I finished zipping up, and then I basically apply full power to try to catch up with these guys. That was a pretty big effort, but I made it. So those guys finally came into view. I don't know if they sat up. They're both very, very strong, so I'm not. They must have sat up to, maybe let me catch back on, hoping, maybe thinking we could all work together to finish this one out. So yeah, luckily I got back to Dane and Keith, and we settled in, and it wasn't long, maybe another, I don't know, third of a mile before we went into the first of 4 bushwhacking sections, basically. Just, just I think John Yetley just stomped his way through some woods and eventually was able to lay out a trail. So this is it. We're going to kick up here to the left. Pretty big climb out and into the woods. So I'm going to fast forward through this. You can kind of see, you'll get a feel for like some of the bullshit that we had to ride. But it's a lot of fun. Of course, Dane Miller is just hammering with his head down and just keeps going straight when we're supposed to go right. He caught back on now. We told him. We made sure he knew. So there were a total of 4 sections that sort of mirrored what we're riding through here, which again, they're called bushwhack sections. Totally unsanctioned, just through, woods and public land, around trees, over trees, under trees, as is apparent here. It was, yeah, pretty challenging, a lot of fun, big ups and downs into these little creek beds and back up the ravine and onto the next one over and over and over. There's one section ahead that was particularly absurd. We start to drop down here, pick up a little speed, it opens up a little bit. Still snaking around some trees and over some stuff. But there's an area here where the trail gets a little harder to see. Because, it's only been trampled down by, I don't know, about 12 riders or so at this point. But Keith, Snoop here is leading, and he misses a turn, basically. I mean, the course is well marked. I mean, you can see the green flags in the trees here and there, but just down here, I think some sun blind. Sun straight in his eyes. I think he must have missed a flag over this jump, and he starts to head left, and I think we're supposed to be going right, so he splits off here, but we're supposed to go here, and this takes us between 2 sycamores that have grown together, sort of a V-shaped feature. Again, it's just more of the absurd. He had to basically get off and climb through this, and yeah, get out the other side. And now I'm leading, so I drag my ass and Keith and Dane along with me up out of this stuff, and we get up onto the ridge top, and we're gonna drop back down to the nature trail ahead. So going pretty fast here, and here we're up on top of the ridge, come out, and now we go down this big dropout, big downhill down to the paved nature trail that heads into Solon. This is a lot of fun. Get flying down this thing at about 23, 24 miles an hour. Hoping there's no logs laying across. There's some logs. Hoping there's nothing too nasty in the way. So now I've basically come to decision time. I know that I'm still, it's an hour into this thing. I haven't had a single sip to drink, and I'm not feeling like I want to do another hour and 45 minutes. So these guys come up, catch up to me, and I don't know, we ride for a little bit, and then I tip my hat and wish these guys the best, because this is essentially where I tap out. Yeah, this is it. Dane shaking out his hands. I come around. One last pull for these guys. Back to the aid station ahead. And this is a reasonable place to tap out because there's more or less a ride back to the start finish rather than having to scramble back through the woods. So, yeah, take my last pull here and wish these guys a good race, and then I get made fun of. Oh my god. Anyways, all in all, that's still a fun day. It's great to see my nephew do so well. You know, super fit, super strong, 8th place overall. It's impressive. Beat a lot of fast people today. Um, yeah, winner, Caden Snoop, super fast, super hard ride. Lots of fun. Can't wait till next year.
I'm gonna have to stop. I got no fluids, man. I can't run this. Yeah, I can't run another. Well, shit. You guys have a good ride.